Karen told me I couldn't park my emergency truck near her house. HOA rules, she said. But when flames lit up her porch, guess who came screaming for help? If you've ever dealt with a power-tripping HOA, you'll love this one. Don't forget to subscribe to HOA Stories for more real HOA revenge. And tell me, where are you watching from? I've lived in this neighborhood for nearly 15 years, and I've been a firefighter for 20. I know every street, every hydrant, and every shortcut. So when I finally bought a small corner lot here, I thought I'd found the perfect balance. A quiet life for my family and close enough to my station that I could still be first on the scene when needed. I also drove a small fire utility truck home from the station some nights. Not the big red engine, but a rapid response vehicle we're allowed to use off-duty. I always parked it respectfully, out of the way, wheels to the curb. It's made me a better first responder, faster, closer, always ready. Most of my neighbors respected that, especially when I was the one who showed up minutes before the big trucks did, saving a kitchen or a garage from turning into ashes. Everyone understood, except for one person. Karen. Karen was the self-declared queen of the HOA. Blonde bob, pastel blazers, clipboard always in hand, type who printed out HOA bylaw binders and highlighted them for fun. She hated my truck, claimed it was commercial equipment that ruined the uniform appearance of the block. She left me notices, warnings, even handwritten notes on pink stationery folded under my windshield wiper. I always ignored them, politely at first. Until one day, I came home from a long shift to find my driveway blocked. Karen had parked her car sideways behind my truck, claiming I was in violation of some obscure aesthetic parking rule. When I called her, she smugly said, "This is not a fire station. It's a residential neighborhood, and you don't get special treatment." I told her this truck had saved homes, including one 2 streets over last month. She didn't care. Rules are rules, she chirped. That was just the start. A week later, I got an official HOA violation in the mail, $100 per day for unauthorized vehicle storage. I appealed. The board, chaired by Karen, denied it. At the next meeting, I explained how critical it was for me to respond quickly in emergencies. Karen interrupted, saying the fire department is 5 miles away. You'll get there when you get there. We shouldn't have to look at your red truck in the meantime. That's when I knew this wasn't about rules. It was about control. So, I did what any reasonable man would do. I parked my truck at the station from then on. No more violations, no more pink notes. Karen strutted around like she'd won. But the universe has a way of flipping the script. One humid July evening, I was off duty, grilling in my backyard when the emergency alert buzzed on my phone. Structure fire. Same street. I checked the address and froze. It was Karen's house. I sprinted through my gate, turned the corner, and saw black smoke curling up from her porch. I called dispatch to confirm engines were en route. As I ran closer, I noticed something worse. Her SUV was still parked halfway across the street, right in the usual turning radius for the fire engines. I waved at the first truck and pointed. Blockage. The driver tried maneuvering around, but the space was too tight. Seconds ticked by. Flames licked up her porch railing, and out she came. Karen, barefoot, panicking, screaming for help. "Why aren't they doing anything?" she shrieked. I yelled back, "They can't get through. Your car's blocking the engines?" Her face went ghost white. She bolted toward the SUV with her keys, but she was shaking so badly she dropped them. One of the other neighbors had to help. When the engine finally made it close enough, it was too late for her front door, scorched and blackened. The porch collapsed inward, her fancy entryway gone. If my truck had been parked where it used to be, I would have already been hosing it down. She looked at me, wild-eyed, and screamed, "Why didn't you do something?" I stared at her. "Karen, remember? I'm not allowed emergency access on this street." That's when her knees gave out and she collapsed on the grass. The fire was contained, but the damage was done, and I hadn't even touched a hose. The next week, our neighborhood buzzed with whispers. Karen tried to play victim, claiming the fire department delayed their response, until someone showed the board a video from their ring cam. It caught the entire scene, including her SUV blocking the road and her screaming about HOA rules. The footage went viral on the neighborhood app. Karen resigned from the HOA board in shame. But the real karma came when the city fined the HOA $25,000 for obstructing emergency access. Guess who they blamed? Karen. And guess who ended up with a lien on her house when she refused to pay? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't me. Over the weeks that followed, Our quiet little suburban street became a spotlight of shame for Karen. News of the incident spread not just on the neighborhood app, but also to local media, who ran a segment titled HOA Policies Gone Wrong. Fire truck blocked. Homeowner's house burned. The irony was too rich for reporters to resist. One clip even caught Karen yelling, "Why aren't they helping?" while the fire burned behind her, aired in slow motion for maximum effect. She went from self-righteous neighborhood monarch to viral punchline in days. I kept my head down through it all, though it was hard not to notice the neighbors suddenly nodding more respectfully at me during walks. One elderly couple even brought my family homemade pie, thanking me for all the times you were ready to help when we needed you. As for the HOA, they were in panic mode. With Karen gone, the board scrambled to repair the PR disaster. They dropped all fines against me and issued a formal apology during the next community meeting, not because they wanted to, but because they were advised by their lawyer that continuing to enforce the no emergency vehicles rule could result in more city penalties. And then came the lawsuit. The city, pressured by public outrage and safety policy, sued the HOA for interference with emergency operations. Their legal filing included aerial images showing Karen's SUV obstructing fire engine access, witness testimonies, and department logs showing delays. Karen, of course, tried to claim ignorance, said she was just enforcing rules everyone agreed to. But that defense fell apart when multiple neighbors came forward with screenshots of her boasting about putting that firefighter in his place on the HOA Facebook group. At the trial, I was called as a witness. I told the truth, that I never once parked recklessly, that I'd only kept the truck there to save lives, and that I'd moved it to avoid trouble, even though it slowed me down. The judge looked at Karen and asked, "So you believed it was more important to preserve the look of the street than to allow a fire truck to get through during an emergency?" Karen opened her mouth but couldn't speak. Her lawyer spoke instead. "We withdraw the defense, Your Honor." In the end, the court ordered the HOA to pay $50,000 in fines and update its bylaws immediately to allow emergency responders priority access at all times. Karen, having been the acting president when the restrictions were enforced, was personally sued by the HOA's own insurance carrier for negligence. That's when everything began to collapse. She put her house up for sale within the month. Not that she had much choice. Her premiums skyrocketed. She was personally on the hook for over $30,000, and no neighbor wanted her back on the board. The last time I saw her, she was loading boxes into a moving truck, wearing dark sunglasses and avoiding eye contact with anyone. I didn't wave. I didn't gloat. I just closed my garage and went back to polishing the red utility truck parked proudly in my driveway. Because after the fire, the city gave me written permission to park it there 24/7 as part of our updated emergency access ordinance. Funny how things work out. Now, every time I hear a siren echo down the street, neighbors don't complain. They look out their windows, nod, and say, "Thank God James is close." The ramp Karen once blocked is now a symbol of why you daren't mess with people who are there to protect you. And as for me, I didn't have to take revenge. I just had to let her own fire do the talking.